Good things come to those who wait. We're sorry we're a little bit late, but we promise we will make it worth it. NFC North fans, how are you doing? Gosh, this division got really, really interesting over the last week of football. We've got a hell of a game to preview this upcoming Saturday. Yes, that's right. Saturday games are back. And of course, the NFC North is in primetime football. But in order to do so, I've got to bring in the panel, see what they're talking about, see how these guys are doing. We got Bass, we got Christian, we got One Bar, and we got Nick. Nick, let me put you in your rightful spot here, right on the top, because your team is in first place once again, and we'll see if that holds again Saturday. Fellas, it's so good to see you. Nick has to run here. He's got some prior obligations, so we're going to try to get through this show efficiently, quickly, so that we can hear as much from Nick as possible. And we're going to start just there. The Bears beat down the Browns in frigid temperatures 31-3. And I got to say, the most impressive thing to me is the fact that they put up 31 points. I mean, in these types of conditions, Caleb Williams looked awesome. The offense was absolutely humming. The defense was humming. This was a complete game from Chicago, who's had their fair share of injuries, but taking care of business to make sure that they get first place back. Nick, talk to me. What'd you see from your Bears this past weekend?
I saw a lot of resilience. I saw great bounce back. I saw Ben Johnson show why we brought him. Like a coach that doesn't just be like, oh, that loss last week was such a heartbreaker. Like, hopefully it doesn't carry over this week. Like Ben Johnson's like, nope, this is a desperate must-win game, and we're going to do everything we can to win it. And fun fact, the Cleveland Browns have not scored a touchdown at Soldier Field since 2009. And they might not ever have another opportunity to do that if they do move stadiums. So Ben Johnson took this game personally, like Michael Jordan just ran with it. And I think that he did a fantastic job at letting it be known that the Bears weren't going to fold. They knew that this was a must-win game, considering the fact of how important it is for this NFC North or NFC in general. And a win, especially, he said, he was like, I'm not looking over at the Packers game. I'm worrying about us right now. And winning that game in fashion that they did, along with that too, having players step up, DeMarco Jackson winning NFC Player of the Week because of his play. And then on top of it too, Tyreek Stevenson came back. You had players like Luther Burden step up because Roma Dunze was out. Ozzie Trapillo going against Myles Garrett. Yeah, that was a very tough challenge for him. Still held his own, all things considered. The entire team just was locked in and good to go. So it was just an absolutely massive win. And we had 54,000 Bears fans at Soldier Field. And Ben Johnson called them out and said, listen, they've never been that loud before. And that's what we're going to feed off of. That's what's so important to this team. And the big reason why they're 10-4 right now is how important that the fan base has become. And already saying, he's like, we need that again, even more this upcoming Saturday against Green Bay. So I saw a coach that led the team, had confidence, and overall they did a fantastic job versus the Cleveland Browns and dominated them. Exactly what they should have. And that shows that this team is not backing down. That's not the old Bears.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point that you make, because you can't pick who you play, but dominating bad teams is exactly what good teams do. And this is a league that there's a lot of parity. Really, week to week, it seems like there's a new best team in the NFL, and the Bears are definitely making a claim here. 31 points. In fact, we had a couple panelists pick against Chicago, if I remember correctly, last week. I was surprised by it. Was it all three of you guys?
First off, I'm blaming One Bar, bro.
Milker's curse is officially over, as JC says.
I get blamed for a lot of things. I'll take the blame on this. Nick, I gotta say, that Caleb Williams throw it was DJ Moore.
Yep.
That was unreal. Like there was some plays in that game where I'm just like, damn, man. Caleb Williams played his balls off. 31 points. So hats off to the Bears, man. Kings of the North right now, baby.
We apologize, man. I don't know what we were thinking coming on here choosing the Browns, to be honest with you.
You guys were thinking very well, clearly.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely hopped on the train with Shedeur after seeing him with Tennessee. I don't know why. I completely forgot about the fact that I'm like, wait a minute. Chicago defense is not Tennessee's defense. I don't know why I was thinking that was going to be that, but I definitely had. I'm like, no, this was not good.
Well, Bulldog wants to do a wellness check on Dion. I can confirm I've seen him on camera over the last 24 hours, and I did talk with him on the phone today, so he's doing fine. He will be back next week. Christian's filling in admirably, and we appreciate it. But Dose is alive, I promise. Also, that sounds like something that a killer would say, but he's alive. He's well. He's all right.
Only you saw and talked to him, it sounds like.
Yeah. None of you guys did.
I don't know.
He'll be back. I promise. All right. He'll be here. So, yeah. All right. Listen, the Bears, dominant fashion. I cannot wait to preview this Packers-Bears game coming up on Saturday. But in order to do so, we got to get through the rest of these. And that means, Christian, we're going to you, not Dose, who I promise will be back next week. Lions lose to the Rams 34-41. What a fun game this was to watch. Man, the Lions came in outgunned, lots of injuries on the road, but they fought their butts off. But it might be a little bit too late for them because this really puts a damper in their playoff hopes. They got to win out and hope for some help at this point. And so losing to the Rams, big loss here, but put up 34 points regardless. Talk to me about what you saw in this game in LA.
Now that I was able to actually, get my thoughts together and stuff like that, because initially I was thinking like, okay, it's 2025 and we still don't know what the heck a catch is. Because the fact that people are still saying, yeah, that was a catch, but he got his knee was down, but he made it into the end zone and then contained it, so it's technically a touchdown. That right there, I feel like that just took all the gas off of us, because I was like, this makes no sense. I don't understand what people saw. I don't understand how that's a touchdown, but it is what it is. But it was also what I said. I'm like, I just felt like the Lions definitely were hungry. They definitely wanted. You can see that's why they put up so many points. But it's also we are a run game team. Like Jahmyr Gibbs literally had 38 yards. Like you can't have that if you want to win. You can't have that if you want to contend in the playoffs. You can't have that if you want to play in the Super Bowl. Like the Lions are always going to be a heavy run offense, and the fact that you had two key players like that and they didn't even hit 100 yards together is always going to present an issue. But hats off to Matthew Stafford. He's definitely playing very good. He's definitely doing his thing. It's just more, like I said, it was our Our corners are too small. Devontae made it look great. Puka Nacua looked great. It's just more, we just got to tighten things up, man. And Aiden Hutchinson, like, you got to hit the gym a little bit more of a dog, because I thought he was going to run that back for the pick six, but he ended up getting gassed and ended up falling down. And it was just like, yeah, just take me down. I need to get some air on the side. But it definitely was a fun game. It's just more of a, now that we have to win out, Chicago has to lose one of these two games, then we have to beat them at the end and all this other. It's definitely something that's going to be challenging, but I also feel like they can handle it. There's one thing about Dan. We can sit here and say Dan Campbell is all this other thing, that he's too aggressive and all that. But the thing is, I feel like his aggressiveness, now that the Lions back against the wall, is the reason why I think the Lions are going to do better now. Because you playing the Steelers, I feel like that might actually end up helping. Like Aaron Rodgers is not the old Aaron Rodgers of Green Bay, but at the same time, Aaron Rodgers is still showing that he's a capable quarterback. So I'm really seeing how this weekend gonna go, because it's more like you lose that one, it's over. But by the end, it's like, who can you blame? Because I think everybody's just gonna keep blaming Jared Goff versus the injuries.
So what's the schedule? So you said the path is you got to win out, and Chicago has to lose to you. You obviously you beat Chicago, but Chicago has to lose either to the Packers or 49ers, which sounds possible. You guys play what? You got this week, you got the Steelers at home, then you got the Vikings, and then the Bears. Is that how it ends up?
Yep. And we have to win all. We have to win all three, and then that's another thing. It's like with that happening like that, it's like I said, like Steelers, you have a run for your money. Like TJ Watt being gone, I feel like he would have been the Achilles heel. That would have killed everything, because as we see, Goff stands in the pocket too long. But with TJ Watt being out there, not being out there, I'm sorry, I feel like you have a shot. But it's just more Vikings. Let's be real. I was like, oh, we're about to whoop on the Vikings. And JJ McCartney looked like the MVP in that game. So it was like, I'm not even about to say that's a toss up and say about that. But then in Chicago, like, yeah, they ran crazy in the beginning of the season against Chicago. But at the same time, you see that Chicago's on the run and they're feeling that at the last minute. So it's like, hey, if we lose, we're out the playoffs. So we're about to play you guys. So them two head to head at the end of the season to see who actually does what. That's going to be crazy.
This could get interesting. I like this. You know, I like the way that they've built this schedule. Well, don't worry. Chicago's going to lose one. We're going to beat them next week. So we got your back, man. Don't worry about that. 49ers are going to beat them at home. Just going to throw that out there. I don't know what the Packers are going to do, but we'll help you out. All right. So you guys just go take care of business. You win your final 3 and we'll get you in the playoffs. All right.
Man, I appreciate you because looking at the Lions, you know, being the NFC North champions and now being 1-3 in our division is crazy. But maybe we at least can get it to, 500 and make it to the playoffs. So that make it a little better.
Yeah. Hey, well, there we go, man. Well, listen, speaking of losses, Bass, my gosh, man, it's not even the loss to the Broncos that's so devastating. And it was a loss, 34-26, but the Broncos are the number 1 seed in the AFC. It's not a bad loss by any means. But the big loss really, and it almost was double because it looked like Watson was going to be done for the year too, potentially a broken collarbone. Now, luckily, it sounds like he's practicing already a little bit this week. He might even play Saturday. That's great news. But one player that's not coming back was the major acquisition you guys made this offseason. Multiple first-round picks. He's been an absolute menace for this team. Really, defensively, there's not a ton of big-name guys, but he was the guy kind of holding it all together, at least when it came to the pass rush. And now Micah Parsons is done for the year. And what sucks about this one, Bass, is you start to look towards next year because so late in the season, you're most likely missing the beginning of next year as well. And this one hurts, man. So first of all, talk to me about this Micah Parsons injury, how much this one crushes the fan base, and then, you know, how you guys overcome it, and then what you saw in this game. You got a lot to cover here, brother.
Yeah. Where do I really start, man? It's there's a lot of thoughts. There's a lot of, thinking going through your mind when you just see him down and you start hearing the reports of ACL. It's like you just spent 2 first rounds. You gave up Kenny Clark for this guy, and he's been, like you said, the backbone of your defense. When you take a look at pressures, he had 79 on the year. Our next highest is Rashawn Gary at 47. Like it's not even close. 12 and a half sacks, Rashawn Gary under 7. So, he was the backbone of this defense. But, when you take a look at it, and this hurts obviously, but every team deals with injuries. We just have a lot to some of our star players, Tucker Kraft, Devontae Wyatt, now Micah Parsons. But a lot of teams deal with injuries. And before going into the season, we didn't have Micah Parsons. We traded for him a couple weeks before the season start. Now, given that was with Kenny Clark on the roster, but Jeff Hafley has coached this defense without Micah Parsons and has coached a solid defense last year, his first year as coordinator. Now, will it be anything like having Micah Parsons on the field? No, it won't. You can't replicate that. But other guys simply need to step up. It's the next man up mentality. And before Parsons went down, we weren't really getting that. Rashawn Gary started off the year strong, 4.5 sacks, was leading the NFL at that point. It was like week 4 or 5. Then he hasn't had a sack in 6 straight games, right? We had Lucas Van Ness start off the year pretty strong. He has like around a 14% pressure rate. Then he gets hurt and hasn't really returned in full yet. He's going to have to step up. We have a guy like Bretton Cox Jr., who's returning off IR. Last year, the second half of the season, he was tied or the highest for the highest pressure rate at like 16%. So he's a guy that can come in and hopefully generate some pressure. Again, you're going to have other guys step up. And one thing that I really look at, and I think that Jeff Hafley is going to have to do, and I think this will happen, is when you take a look at Edgerrin Cooper last season. Obviously, you might be looking at him going, oh, he's a linebacker, and he's a solid one at that. But last year, we used him a lot in pass rush reps, right? So we're putting him in the A gap. We're running loops. We're running stunts and twists and whatnot. And he's getting after the quarterback at a consistent rate. Last year, through the first 15 weeks, 10.5% of his pass rush reps were, or 10.5% of his total reps were pass rush reps. This year, it's only at 6.3%. And that was in part because of Micah Parsons. Because if you looked at every third down, he was standing up in the A gap and he was playing it like a linebacker. And Hafley was having all this type of fun with Micah Parsons. And every Packers fan was watching it, having a ton of fun with him because he was absolutely dominating in that role. Hafley's going to have to reach into his bag and use Edgerrin Cooper, Quay Walker in this same role. So, other guys are going to have to step up. And Hafley, he had a press conference saying, he said it the best. You guys can't come out of Chicago with a win with your heads held high and then not walk into the building after this Parsons injury anything different. Like, we have to keep the mentality there. And Jeff Hafley says, look what will happen when everyone's counting us out. So I have full faith in Hafley. It's just these other players need to step up. They need to really dive into this next man up mentality. Obviously right when it happened, you're kind of just thinking, oh, well, there goes the season. Like, we're waiting for next season. And you're right to think that as well. But, a football team, 46 play on game day. Obviously, Mike Parsons, you'd argue, is worth more than just one player when you have him out on the field. But 46 play on game day, it takes the entire team. And this Packers team is still a good football team. Jordan Love is still playing at a high level. Josh Jacobs, fighting through injury, still playing well. We have Christian Watson, thankfully dodged a bullet there. That's huge, right? We have other ball players on defense. We have other injuries that might affect us next couple of weeks. Zach Tom, Evan Williams, those we have to overcome as well. There's a lot of adversity that the Packers do have to overcome, but I think this football team does have enough talent. Now, looking at the Denver game, obviously, again, like you said, a loss isn't the big headline here. Obviously, against a out-of-conference team, you'd love to get a win here, but it didn't derail the Packers seasons in terms of win-loss and staying in the race for the NFC or NFC North as well. This first half was beautiful. I'm not going to lie. Like, watching this first half, you're going against such a great defense in Denver. One of the best, if not the best defenses, the best pass rushing defense, great against the run. They have some ball players on the back end. Jordan Love was tearing them apart in the first half, like 215 yards, super efficient. He was making some sicko throws out there, and you're going, wow, like, this is why people are starting to talk about Jordan Love more in the MVP conversation. And then the second half happened. We come out, start with the football. Josh Jacobs breaks off a 40-yard touchdown run, and you're like, all right, we're up 9 points against Denver in their own house. Like, this is our game to lose. We stop them. We get the ball back. We go for the kill shot, deep ball to Watson. Pat Surtain makes an excellent play on the football. And then Watson goes down. That was like all the momentum getting sucked out of the stadium because the offense didn't look at any point the same the rest of the game. And as much as I would have loved that it was only the first half, football is 2 halves. And the second half was pretty nasty for this Packers team. All the momentum got sucked out of it. The defense was decent in the first half. They weren't that great in the second. They were actually very poor in the second. One thing I noticed with this defense, it's a consistent pattern, is playing a lot of soft zone and kind of sitting back and allowing quarterbacks to take their first read. We allowed Bo Nix to take his first read most of the time. Now, credit to Nix. He's been phenomenal. He was really, really accurate in this game, and it seemed like every ball he wanted to make, he made the throw, or needed to make, he made the throw. So shout out to Bo Nix, who had a really good game of 4 touchdowns here. This second half, man, it's just like so much momentum pulled out of this game. Then you see Jordan Love, throw a second interception off the hands of Dontavian Wicks, a little bit behind him. I think Riley Moss came up with that one. Also, right before the Micah Parsons injury, I don't want to kind of play this game, but it's been a theme for this Packers defense to drop interceptions. It's happened a lot this year. If you watch, like, I think a play or two before the Parsons injury, Xavier McKinney made an excellent play on a post route, I think to Mims it was, and he should have had an easy interception. And, I don't like to play this game, but I think if he intercepted that, maybe we're not even talking about Micah Parsons being hurt. And on that same play, Evan Williams had an MCL injury as well. So same exact play. We're really banged up right now. The loss sucks. It's, it is what it is. We're still obviously in the running for the NFC North with the Bears game this weekend. We can take back the North. We still control our own destiny, but there's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of, what is going to happen with this defense and offense. We might be without Zach Tom for this week, maybe next week. The defense, not only Micah Parsons, Evan Williams is a huge part of the reason why this defense had success as well. So there's a lot of question marks. But we're going to find out if this team can, face up against adversity here against Chicago, then Baltimore, then Minnesota to close out this season.
Gosh, I gotta say, it's one thing to lose a player of Parsons' caliber, but you can see what he meant to that team. I mean, head coach gets up there, addresses the media. I thought he was damn near going to cry. I just was like, oh my
We
gosh,
all were,
dude.
man, honestly.
If this is how he feels, I don't know how you pull the team up by their bootstraps and get them ready for a short week with the division on the line. Like, this is going to be tough. So, it could be one of those things where the team really rallies behind it and kind of plays out of their mind, or it could go the opposite way. And I'm curious to see how it plays this week. We're going to preview this game shortly, but man, definitely feel for Packers fans. This one's going to hurt for a while. So we'll see how it plays out. You covered it beautifully. All right, One Bar, I got to get to you, man. I can't forget that a couple weeks ago, you said this season is all about what happens down the stretch with one JJ McCarthy. And JJ McCarthy must be a fan of the show and heard you talking about him because, man, he only has 14 touchdowns on the season, rushing and passing. 6 of those have come in the last 2 weeks to only 1 turnover. He's been absolutely playing good football. And once again, the Vikings get a win against a tough Cowboys team, 34-26. JJ McCarthy playing well. Talk to me about what you saw in this game and really what you're seeing from JJ McCarthy, because as you said, it's the most important piece to watch down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta be realists, and I know probably majority. I mean, I'll keep this somewhat quick. Just the Vikings are out, and we got to get to the big matchup. But I mean, we've seen it in the past. We've seen the Bears get momentum the year before, and look what it does. We've seen the Lions in the past get momentum in the past, and it works out. And like you said, Jesse, I mean, this is the whole goal. I mean, it was on primetime football. It was against a fairly decent team that definitely has some firepower. And JJ McCarthy probably had his best game as a pro. And that's 2 games back to back. It's going to be fun. I mean, it's easy to say, yeah, Commanders blow, and the Cowboys defense isn't overly fantastic, but he's balling. And it was on primetime, and it was a very close game, and the Vikings were down, and he did his thing. 3 total touchdowns. And it's just weird. It's kind of a different McCarthy since he's come back from his second injury. Like he's a little more laid back. It seems like there's a lot of pressure taken off, whether it's later in the season and the playoffs aren't in play. Whatever it is, it's working. He's definitely going to have his test when it comes down to the Packers and Lions to finish off the season. It'll be very interesting to see what happens there, but he's doing all the right things. He's answering a lot of questions. I don't think anybody in the Vikings front office or Vikings fans in general are just like, okay, we got him. He's our guy. We got our quarterback for the next 15 years. But compared to what he was doing earlier in this season, it has come a long, long way. Is he still missing passes? Absolutely. But he took 0 sacks. His pocket presence has been very, very good. He's moving around the pocket, finding guys, and he's playing well. And a lot of that does have to do with Kevin O'Connell and his play calling. I mean, the play calling is night and day. The Vikings couldn't do anything on the ground against the Cowboys. Aaron Jones was bottled up. Jordan Mason was bottled up. I think they averaged maybe 3 yards a carry, but they continued to run the ball. They continued to play two or three tight ends at a time. CJ Ham, the fullback, was out there, and they were just playing the JJ McCarthy strengths, and it worked. And against the Commanders, a lot of short passes, which worked. This week, they took at least one of the training wheels off, where they were being a little more aggressive, and it definitely panned out well for McCarthy as well. So it's huge. Like I said, he's going to have a little more tougher challenge in the coming weeks, and we'll see what he does defensively. They held their own against the Cowboys. We knew they're going to put up some points, but I mean, Dak didn't have a touchdown. They held Pickens to 3 catches for 33 yards. So defensively, the Vikings are very underrated when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. Unfortunately, Jonathan Grenard, season-ending shoulder injury. So he is out. So that is a plus for the Lions and Packers when we play them. I'm not going to even put him in the same atmosphere, in the same universe as Micah Parsons. But when Jonathan Grenard is out there, this defense just plays better. Everybody plays better when Jonathan Grenard is out there. So that's going to be a big hit. Metellus is out for the year as well. So the Vikings definitely took some hits there. But, Vikings moved to 6-8. They're playing good football, which is crazy to say. When you go back 3-4 weeks ago, it was pretty painful to watch. And I'm just glad it was on prime time. I mean, the Vikings were due to at least put on some sort of a show, and they did it. And who doesn't love watching the Cowboys lose and pretty much put their playoff hopes to bed? So all in all, it was good. Momentum, and let's see what McCarthy can do against the Giants. I mean, the man should tear them a new one, hopefully.
Yeah, 100%. One thing you mentioned was KOC and the play calling. I know I can't help but to notice that McCarthy his attempts are way down. You know, I think it was like 19, 23, and 24 back-to-back weeks, keeping him in that area under 25 attempts, and we're seeing it pay off for sure. So, you know, McCarthy was a guy who didn't throw the ball a lot in games at Michigan. The talent was certainly there, but you always wondered with KOC, who loves to just throw it all over the yard, how this marriage was going to work. And at times it has been rocky, but KOC seemingly has dialed things back, figured out how to actually nourish this young quarterback, and maybe, just maybe, he can have himself a good career. At least the last couple of weeks, things have looked good, and you want to see that down the tail end of this season for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think I was just say I don't think that's the long game at all. Like he had to just get McCarthy comfortable being out on the damn field, because he looked like a mess out there. And like I said, he's just playing. It's just different. He's just playing with a little more confidence. He's playing a little more laid back, and it's paying off. We just got to get him and Justin Jefferson on the same page, man. There is something weird there. Like, I mean, Jefferson missed a touchdown. It wasn't the perfect pass, but it went right through his hands. There's something. I mean, and that is not the only one Jefferson has dropped from McCarthy. It's very odd. It's very weird. They got to get on the same page. A lot of work in the offseason.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's get to our sponsor, Sleeper. Get a 100% deposit match of up to $100 using promo code RTS. Link is pinned to the top of the description. And in the sake of time, because we certainly have got to have Nick around when we go to this Saturday game, I've made the picks already this week. So we've got Aaron Rodgers. I got the free pick on Monday Night Football before that thing kicked off. And then Thursday Night Football, I'm going more with three players. I got Kyron Williams more on the 55.5 rushing yards. I got Matt Stafford more on the 229.5 passing yards. And same thing with Sam Darnold. I believe all three of them are going to get the more. I think this game could turn into a bit of a shootout, at least when it comes to yards, maybe not scoring. So that's what I'm going with there. You can tail us, you can fade us, but either way, use promo code RTS when you sign up for Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy football app that there is. Now, let me get over to our other sponsor here. Pull them up. All right, here we go. RotoWire. If you're playing Sleeper, you definitely want to have a tandem app to go along with it. And that is certainly going to be RotoWire. They're going to help you out with their AI algorithm, help you make the best picks possible. And here's how you do it. You go to Picks and Props. You go to Daily Fantasy Football. You go to Sleeper. And they're going to load up here. And every single sport, every single pick that Sleeper has, they've got an AI algorithm that says yay or nay on it. I'll give you an example. Travis Kelce, they love the more on 44.5 receiving yards this week. What they don't like, previously mentioned, Jahmyr Gibbs rushing and receiving, they like him to get less than 121.5. I know Christian wouldn't be happy about this one. He just talked about how you need to use them. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, they got more on the 75.5. They're going to help you win your daily fantasy sports pick 'em. And if you're in the playoffs still for fantasy football, number one, congratulations. But RotoWire will help you set your lineups as well. All you got to do is go to the description, hit the link, get your 15% off using promo code RTS, and get the best tandem fantasy football app that there is in the business. Let RotoWire help you win. All right, fellas. It's time to get to it. No reason to delay this thing. Packers, Bears on Saturday. This is with the division on the line, potentially even keeping hopes alive for that first overall seed, which we know that bye week is going to be crucial. So, Christian, I'm going to start with you on this one. Your team's not involved. Packers, Bears, Saturday. Who do you have winning this one?
I'm giving it to the Bears. I got to. I'm sorry. Like it's just more of a
From
thing
picking
of,
Cleveland to picking the Bears against the Packers. I love it. Okay.
I know. I was like, man, even saying that the Bears are gonna win is throwing me off. Like I got a drink of water, so I got a bad taste in my mouth. But it's just, I just see it because it's like that. It's that what everybody's been saying pretty much all day. It's just the momentum. It's like that Micah Parsons injury. I definitely believe is going to be something that's going to hold everybody up. It's like he did. We said it previously. They showed the thing. Me being a Lions fan, that man was being held everywhere. All the whole time. It's like Micah Parsons definitely is a game changer. Like he's definitely one of the people that bring break problems. So you can't just be like, okay, we're going to replace Hall of Fame talent. It's not possible. So the fact that you lost him, I think that's going to end up making Chicago end up going over. And Caleb Williams, it's crazy. I got to keep boosting Caleb Williams, but Caleb Williams had a hell of a game, and I think he's going to have a hell of a game again because it's like he's showing that, like, hey, me being a Lions fan, like maybe Ben Johnson was the person to this offense. It's like, man, Ben Johnson is really using his pieces how they're supposed to be. He's actually playing chess while everybody's been playing checkers the whole time.
Crazy, man. What's your score prediction on this one?
Now I see that as like 30, 31-27. I still see it being close, but I still got to give it to the Bears.
All right. One bar. You also picked Cleveland. The Milkers. The Milkers were out. The curse is over. We know they can win despite the Milkers coming out. So let me know. Packers at Bears. That's right. They're not playing at Lambeau this week. I know Nick's happy about that one. Packers at Bears Saturday. How do you see this one going?
Well, I got to say, so the first time the Packers and Bears played, I said they were going to split. I picked the Packers last time. So even before the Micah Parsons injury, I was gonna most likely lean towards the Bears. And really this does pretty much solidify it. I'm not saying the Packers are dead by any means, but like the Micah Parsons injury, like to me the bigger part of it is not only Micah Parsons being out, but like the defense everybody on this defense just got worse. I mean, they really did. Like Micah Parsons makes everybody better. And I remember the first time these guys played, I don't think Parsons had a sack, Baz. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but the dude was all over the place. I don't know how many pressures he had. He had to have had like 8 pressures that game. And he was making Caleb Williams' life a living hell. So I think the Bears get the dub. I think the Bears will be the kings of the North this year. It's going to be a fun ass game to watch on a Saturday. Maybe I'll send a picture of you guys of the empty beer cans by my feet, but I'm going to be whapping beers, enjoying the hell out of this game. But I think the Bears get the dub. It's going to be 28-20. Like I said, I'm not putting a nail in the Packers coffin whatsoever, but the Bears are going to take this one.
Man, well, listen, I got to say, Nick, on the surface, this feels good. You got your fellow panelists picking the Bears to win, but let's not forget that one short week ago, they were fading your Bears, and we saw how that turned out. So maybe they're not so good at picking games. Maybe you're not going to be happy about that. But overall, man, you've got the notebook out. Overall, talk to me about this game. I know you guys have some injuries too. It's not like you're coming into this thing healthy. You guys got plenty of injuries of your own, so you certainly do not feel sorry for the Green Bay Packers. Talk to me about some of those injuries, who's in, who's out, and how do you see this game going?
Well, first of all, I want to start off with that. I think, and I've tweeted this a few times, I talked about this on the show, is that it's very classless to cheer on an injury. And Micah Parsons is the kind of player that you want to see out there and your team go against, because when you do have the opportunity to beat them, or you do have the opportunity to play them, it like truly shows how talented your team is. Also, just a super fun player to watch. So anyone that was like saying like, oh, I'm so happy about that, like, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Like, he is a person too. I hope he comes back better than ever. That being said, Bears, I mean, like, this is the karma a little bit right here. Bears have their own injuries too. Luther Burden, 2 days in a row, no practicing. Roma Dunze, 2 days in a row, no practicing. You all of a sudden have DeAndre Swift hitting it with a groin injury. So like suddenly, like the Bears, you're like, all right, what do we got going here? That being said, this game, I mean, this means everything. And I know that, you know, Baz, maybe you saw it. I know you didn't say it, but I definitely saw, and I've heard it from other Packers fans that decided to call me after that one, is like, oh, this was Chicago's Super Bowl, so on. So this is like the NFC North Super Bowl right now. This is for who's going to really take it and who's going to own it and control the destiny of it moving forward. So that's what's important about with this game. But being at Soldier Field, it's going to be a beautiful day, by the way. I already checked the weather. It's going to be 40 plus during the day, probably in the 30s at night. But Saturday Night Football in Chicago, Bears, Packers, it doesn't get much better than that. I think that it's pretty evened out. Like, we're missing Dio, who was supposed to be one of our big guys. We just had another defensive edge hit the injury report. So that's another big factor for us. Overall, like, the Bears do have their own injuries. There's still no confirmation that Tremaine Edmonds is coming back, even though he was limited the back-to-back days. Overall, though, Bears definitely have their own injury issues, but I think that this is what makes this matchup so awesome, is that there are key injuries on both sides of the ball, and that's what's going to be a big factor in this one. But I think there's going to be a lot of running again. I think there's going to be not many deep throws by Caleb Williams. I think it's just going to be what we were doing this past week against the Browns, just 10 to 20-yard throws, no, Hail Marys or anything. I'm excited about this one, though. I'm feeling good about it. I'm happy everybody else seems to as well. I know Baz is obviously going to choose the Packers, as I would choose the Bears. But I feel like this is going to be a good matchup. I feel like it's going to come down to the wire again last time. But I got it flipped. I got it Bears 28, Packers 21, and they win in the fourth quarter. I think it's going to be a great game this upcoming Saturday night, and I can't wait for it.
Muted Jesse.
You're muted, Jesse.
I can't wait for it either. Saturday football is always fun this time of year. I definitely look forward to it. Bass, talk to me, man. It's tough because you get these division matchups and you don't even have the luxury of splitting if you want to win the division outright. You got to beat them twice. You just did it a week ago. Now you got to go back to Chicago and prove it again. Can they get it done without Parsons? How do you see this game going down?
Oh man. It's like Nick said, it kind of is the NFC North Super Bowl for lack of better terms. But at the same time, the Packers and the Bears also have difficult opponents after this, right? The 49ers, the Ravens. So we could see the Bears win or the Packers win in this game, reclaim the North, and that could change again. Like, that very well could. That's how tight it is. And saying this, we all took the Browns last week foolishly, except for Nick, obviously. We saw what happened. I don't know. It's like, do I take the Bears in my prediction here? Maybe I do. Now, on a serious note, last week against the Broncos, we, for lack of better words, we played like dog shit in the second half, and we still had a chance at the very end to go down and tie the game. Like, we did. Obviously, that didn't work out. We netted like -5 yards on that last drive. It was like a false start. We didn't play good in the second half at all. But like I was saying earlier, this team still has talent. Now, life without Parsons is going to be difficult, and it's going to take a lot of other guys stepping up. Now, something that a lot of people are looking at Parsons, which you should be, but Evan Williams, man. The reason a lot of those runs, the first game against the Bears, Monangai and Swift didn't go for more yardage is Evan Williams back there. I mean, this guy has been, one of the most underrated safeties here in year 2. And if we're without him and he has an MCL sprain, he said it's not as bad as the one he had in college, and he missed 4 games at Fresno State with that. I think everyone's going to be pushing to play, but it's like, okay, can you actually get cleared to play? If we're without Evan Williams, I think we're going to find trouble stopping this running attack by the Bears. We kind of found some trouble stopping it the first time around. But one thing is clear, the Packers, the way they run defense, or the way Jeff Hafley runs defense, it's going to have to change. Like, we can't just sit back in our cover 3 or our zone like we have been. We're a heavy cover 3 team, we're a heavy zone team, and say, hey, we're going to send 4 or 5, and most of the time we're going to create pressure or get home because it's Micah Parsons. Like, you can't stop him every time. We don't have that. So Jeff Hafley, like I said a little bit earlier, is going to have to reach into his bag, use Edgerrin Cooper, use Quay Walker, have some simulated pressures, maybe bring a Xavier McKinney down to either blitz or simulate some pressure there. He's going to have to do all that. If he doesn't, and we go into this game like we did the last time against the Bears, we will lose this game because we need to play it a little bit more aggressive. And I think inevitably, if you play it more aggressive, teams are going to find more explosive plays against you. And that's something the Packers have done a really good job at stopping, but it's something you're going to have to live by without Micah Parsons. You know, I think on offense, Love is going to have to just play nuclear, like what he was kind of the level he was at the first half of the Denver game and the prior like 3 to 4 weeks. You know, I think we can all agree Love was playing at a very high level. Just the second half of this Denver game, it didn't look good at all. He's going to have to play pretty flawless. He's not going to be able to turn over the football. You know, he turned it over twice in Denver, turned it over once in Chicago, and that was a 1-score game. So if you turn it over twice, like Chicago's going to win this game. Now, I think Josh Jacobs should play in this game. He's been on the injury report for feels like a month now with that knee contusion. He's one of our toughest players, one of the toughest players in the NFL, and he continues to just power through. He re-injured that knee in Denver like the first drive and still continued through that whole game, including a 40-yard running touchdown. Now, the Bears allow the 27th. They're 27th in explosive run plays allowed. So I think if the Packers kind of get some success down on the ground, you know, that's a great recipe for success here, kind of make it easy on the offense. But here's the thing that really worries me. You know, obviously without Micah, the Bears have a great offensive line. And it's like, it could look really bad with Gary and LVN out there starting at edge, and maybe some, you know, Inigbare, Barron Sorrell, our 4th-round rookie out of Texas, Brenton Cox Jr. if he returns. You know, if we can't find any success creating pressure, like Caleb's going to have all day to either throw or run, you know, roll out left or right, do whatever he needs to do and make impressive throws like he has been. That's going to be a worry for mine. And it all falls down to Jeff Hafley cooking up blitz packages and making it difficult like he did in certain, you know, the first half against the Bears. Like that was a recipe that worked. Obviously they adjusted. Ben Johnson, a terrific coach, they adjusted. It's going to be a good coaching matchup. That's what I'm excited for. Hafley versus Johnson. You know, you have LaFleur versus Dennis Allen. So, you know, I think it's a very good coaching matchup. Yeah, like Nick said, you can't get better than this. Saturday Night Football, Packers versus Bears. As funny as it would be to, you know, choose Bears here just to kind of, you know, go with that curse, I'm not going to do it. I was going to go Packers 31-27.
Oh, I absolutely love it. I cannot wait for this matchup. Nick, I know you got a jet, but real quick before you get out of here, just give me a score. You don't got to go deep analysis. Vikings, Giants, 1 p.m. Eastern. Who do you have winning that one? What's your score prediction?
You know, I think the Vikings are going to put a stomping on the Giants on this one. I got 32-17.
All right. And then Lions versus the Steelers. Can the Lions keep their playoff hopes alive and make Week 18 interesting?
Oh my gosh. I see the prayer, brother. I see it. I really need a Lions loss. I really do. But it's in Detroit, right?
It is, yeah.
Lions win. I'm going to put it out there right now. I think the Lions keep their playoff hopes alive. I think that this end of the season is just going to be absolutely insane, but I got a Lions win over Aaron Rodgers and those Steelers.
All right, I appreciate it. Nick, get out of here. Take care of your business, man. We'll see you next week, brother.
Thanks, guys. Bear down, and we'll see you next week. We'll see you. It's going to be a really good week for me. That's all I got to say. I'll talk to you, Baz. We'll talk after the show. Ta-ta for now.
There he goes. And he's out. He's out just like that, dropping the Donald Trump on the way out. You got to love it. Okay, we're going to leave his square open because he's earned that spot. So we'll just leave it right there as it is. Vikings at the Giants, 1 p.m. Eastern. Christian, I'm coming to you, man. How do you see this one going down?
You said Vikings?
Vikings at the Giants, yep.
Hey, I'm not going to lie. I don't believe as much as I like. New York look good on paper. Like, let's just say that. I'm not gonna lie. Like Scarborough, Dart, like they definitely have personalities in New York, but also the two people I just named are on the field. So you're gonna have Jameis Winston, and who's going to play like Jameis Winston. You had a great game against Detroit. You were bossing up, which was disrespectful, but at the same time, you're not getting that with the Vikings. They're going crazy on you. They're definitely going crazy. I definitely seen that being like a 27-10 because I just don't see it with New York. You just don't have the talent. Like on paper, they definitely look great. It's just more of what you're going to bring in. I don't feel like they're going to bring it. I think James McCarthy's going to go crazy on this weekend.
Oh, that's music to Vikings fans' ears, man. They've got to see J.J. McCarthy put some games together and end this thing strong. Bass, you like to fade the division, man. I'm curious to see how you go with this one. They are in New York. How do you see this one going down?
Yeah, man, I'm a big Jameis guy. Is it Jameis or is it Dart? Like Dart was it like 19th concussion? What was it?
Did he get another one? Is that what
Did he?
happened?
I don't know.
I don't even, dude.
I
I don't keep up
I
on the
lost
Giants. I
count.
don't know.
Whoever it is, I don't care. They lost 8 straight, dude. Like, I don't care. It could be. I don't care. As much as I love to watch Jameis, like Jameis would totally make this like a 44 to 45 loss. Like, that would be great. But, Minnesota winning 2 straight. JJ looks competent, and I want the Vikings to win. I do. It worsens their draft pick, so it's fine. Like, I want them to win the next 2 and then lose week 18. That's kind of where I'm sitting here. Minnesota, some injuries on defense, like one bar mentioned, Grenard. I think Metellus too on IR, if I'm correct. That doesn't matter, man. Giants are, I mean, they really know one out there. So yeah, I'm going 31-20 Minnesota.
All right. Well, listen, you're either a sad individual if you're not a Vikings or a Giants fan and you're choosing to watch this one, or you're a degenerate and your fantasy football team's still alive, which is great. And you got to watch this one because you got some guys going. But listen, if you drafted Justin Jefferson, you're probably not around anymore because this has not been good. Either way, though, one bar, how do you see this one going down? Can the Vikings take care of business again? I mean, my gosh, if the Vikings win this game, you are wishing and hoping that somehow, some way you can sign a petition to get moved over to the NFC East because you guys are running through that division right now. You guys might be a playoff team if they were around. Talk to me. How do you see this one going down?
I mean, first off, I got to give you guys some credit to pretend to give 2 craps about the Vikings-Giants game. So hats off to you guys. Nobody outside of New York or Minnesota is watching this thing. Probably a lot of people in New York and Minnesota aren't watching this game. The Giants are, I mean, there's no sugarcoating this. The Giants are horrible. They're horrible. They're checked out. Their defense is just absolutely balls. I mean, they're giving up 28 points a game, 153 on the ground, 228 in the air. Their offense, I will give them credit. It is fun to watch their offense. Their running game has actually gotten a little bit better. The passing game is fine, but I mean, they want their draft pick. I think they're battling it out for that number 1 pick right now, right? So they don't want to win this game. And the Vikings should just absolutely handle business. And the good thing for Vikings fans are, like JJ McCarthy going into not a very good defense, will continue to get a little bit of momentum. Like, I'm all for the Dubs, baby. Whether we get the 12th pick in the draft or the 17th pick or 18th pick, I don't really care. I will continue to toot that horn as far as just get the wins and get better. But yeah, they should handle business against the Giants. Brian Flores is going to do his thing against an offense that, should have some turnovers, and Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason should do their thing on the ground. I got the Vikings winning 30-17. And you know what? Crazier things have happened. The Vikings could actually, I'm not drinking a ton of purple Kool-Aid, but it is possible they could still finish 9-8. Which is a crazy, crazy thing to say. Granted, they got to get past the Lions, who they are to beat, and the Packers that got some issues going on. But it's going to be a fun end of the season for Vikings fans that haven't had much to cheer for. So yeah, they should absolutely obliterate the Giants. They better. It would be in true Vikings fashion to lose to the Giants. So I will say that.
Well, I'll tell you, you go 5-0 down the stretch and you finish out winning 2 division games. You feel pretty damn good headed into next year. The Vikings are not void of talent. That is not the issue. The quarterback play has really been an issue all year long. And if JJ McCarthy can finish the season strong, then it's got to give you some hope for next year. And maybe the Vikings can make some noise. But yeah, they should be able to put the Giants away pretty handily. Well, there is a team with playoff hope still alive, and we've laid out the path, and it's not as unrealistic as it may seem right now with 3 games left. The Lions versus the Steelers in Detroit. Friendly home confines. You got to feel good about this one, Christian. One bar, I'm actually going to come back to you on this one. Lions versus the Steelers, 4:25 p.m. Eastern. How do you see this one going down?
Yeah, I mean, in Detroit, like I got the Lions. I don't think the Steelers can keep up with them points-wise. They shouldn't be able to keep up with them points-wise. And if they're not feeding the hell out of Jahmyr Gibbs in this game, I mean, Gibbs got bottled up last week. I think he had less than 40 yards. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like, this is a game that he should come out and they should just absolutely give him the ball. So I got the Lions winning 34-24. Lions are going to take out some frustration from last week.
All right, music to Christian's ears. Bass, how do you see this one going down? Lions versus the Steelers.
Yeah, I will say, like, the Steelers are kind of hitting a little bit of stride here. It seems like Aaron Rodgers has a little bit of that like vibe going on. We're like, okay, like this team could kind of do some things down the stretch, maybe get into the playoffs. But Lions haven't lost 2 straight once this year, and obviously it's a key to get the running game going, like you guys have been saying. You know, all of their losses, Gibbs has 70 or less rushing yards, like plain and simple. If you don't get him going, you know, they're most likely going to have some issues on offense. But that just happened last week. And again, the Lions, I feel like every time we come on here and do our predictions, every time the Lions have lost, I think I've picked them the next week just because of how they respond. And I'm going to keep it the same here. You know, I think Gibbs, I wish I had him in my fantasy championship. I don't, but thankfully I'm not playing against him. He's going to get like 160 yards. Like I could already see it. The writing's on the wall. St. Brown looks healthy. I got the Lions in a close one though. You know, 1-score game, I should say, 27-20.
Wow, Bass generous with the picks within the division, man. You're generous this week. I like it. Just handing
not
out
that I'm
wins.
a hater. It's just like I'm just thinking, like, obviously, I don't want these teams to win. Like, I would rather the Lions get eliminated because it does worry me if you enter into the playoffs, 2nd seed against 7th seed. If that happens, like, that's a worry. Hard to beat a team 3 times in the season, but no, it's just realistically, it's like they haven't lost after a loss. They're really strong after a loss.
Yeah, really, really good point. Jahmyr Gibbs really is the straw that stirs the drink for sure in Detroit. Christian, talk to me, man. How do you see this one going down? It's a must win at this point. They all are. These are all playoff games, and luckily for Detroit, they are familiar with the playoffs the last couple years. Can they get it done against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are also desperate for a win, man? This is 2 teams that really need this win. Can the Lions get it done at home against the Aaron Rodgers-led Steelers?
Now, I'm not going to lie. You asked me this probably like 5-6 years ago. I would have been nervous. I've been sweating bullets. I've had to you take me off camera because I'm like, man, I'm going to dread this. But to be honest, Lions got this. This is way too easy. We haven't lost a back-to-back game since October 2022. The thing is, the only question is how many points does the Lion win by? Because it's just from last week, like you said, yeah, you were correct. Jahmyr Gibbs had 38 yards. Crazy that you had 38 yards in your freaking Jahmyr Gibbs. So the fact that they're going to go back around, he's going to have 100, close to 2, maybe like 2 or 3 touchdowns. He's going to go crazy because they're like, yeah, we're not losing this. We're going to play our. I don't know. I'm not sure if I can cuss or not. It's like, but we can play our behinds off, and we're not going to lose this game because it's like this is the last game. Ford Field this season, we chance to make the playoffs, all the stuff's going on. It's like this game matters so much to this team right now. I definitely seen this being the blowout. It's like 34-17. But real quick, I do have to say shout out to Dave Pendell because I know when on my stuff did in the D that's Aaron Rodgers was his favorite QB, but Aaron Rodgers is getting whooped this weekend, man. So your favorite player, man, he's taking the L this weekend, but I still rock with you though, but you getting belt to behind this weekend.
I love it. Absolutely love it, man. You know, the hate is real. Last week the hate was directed towards Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. This week you got someone else in the crosshairs. I absolutely love this, man. Well, listen,
I'm still waiting on that cash app.
Yeah. Where's it at? Where's it at? Well, listen, we got a hell of a slate of games this week, and I cannot wait to review them next week and then preview the following week's games. Gosh, guys, 3 weeks left until the playoffs, and we've got 2 teams in this division that are going to make the playoffs, it seems, at this point. So it's just which 2 is it going to be? A lot of fun down the stretch here, man. We might have a new division leader next week. Every single week it's flip-flopping. A few weeks ago it was the Bears. Then it was the Packers. Now it's the Bears. Can it be the Packers again, even though they are without Parsons? We're going to find out. But that's going to do it for this week. I know Nick's not here, but we're going to shout him out. So for Nick, Christian, Bass, and One Bar, I'm your host, Jesse. Make sure you tune in, same time, same place next week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll be here. Much love. Peace.